Hello Vault Heads, this is the self-proclaimed, sarcastically named Captain KeyForge, also known as PJ Broughton of the Steel City Snufflegators. And welcome to episode 5 of Captain's Commpod, where today we are going to talk about KeyForge Adventures, which is a new solo play version of KeyForge, which is going to be coming to us very soon, thanks to FFG. An article is available on Fantasy Flight Games website. You will find that in the comments if you want to go and have a look, but we're going to talk about it today, have a look into it, and also talk about other things that may be close to it and how I think it may go for us. So what they've told us so far is that there are going to be 2 adventures. Okay, they are both going to be free to play. The first one is going to be called Rise of the Keyraken, and the second one is going to be called the Abyssal Conspiracy. Okay, so yeah, these sound quite interesting. They have told us that they will give you the ability to either play alone for the first time or to play cooperatively in a team of 2 players or cooperatively as a team of 3 players against an opponent controlled via a deck of cards and controlled separately. So an AI opponent, if you will. So yeah, that is what we should be getting. The first adventure is Rise of the Keyraken, which is going to pit you against a beast that was sealed beneath the Crucible's oceans long ago. Released by an Aquian cult, the Keyraken is a powerful creature that absorbs the psychic power of Ember and can move the ocean with the strength of its will. Okay, if the Archons are going to defeat the Keyraken and save the Crucible, they will need to bring out their strongest and smartest fighters. After all, the Keyraken has 30 power per player and 6 armor at the start of the game, and only needs to spend its Amber and advance 4 times to win the game. Okay, the Keyraken is a purple octopus stalk squid. It's ginormous. It is a beast that doesn't seem attached to any house that we recognise before, and its card reads: the Keyraken's power is equal to 30 times the number of players. The Keyraken only deals 3 damage while fighting. The Keyraken gets +2 armor for each unforged key the active player has. If the Keyraken is destroyed, the players win the game. Okay, that is one win condition. We don't know if there are any other win conditions. Maybe actually if you can forge 3 keys yourself, maybe that will be a separate win condition. But certainly destroying the Keyraken is a win condition. So yeah, that sounds interesting. And I'm sure that we will learn more about that probably upon the release of these 2 scenarios. But again, as I say, the article will be in the links for you to have a look at. And that's going to bring me on to adventure number 2, the Abyssal Conspiracy. Okay, so after defeating the Keyraken, the Archons find that the danger has not yet abated, for their ship is crippled by a mysterious saboteur who escapes before justice can be served. In the second adventure, you must navigate a grid of 9 locations as you descend into the ocean's depths to uncover the conspiracy and find the tool that you'll need to put an end to its villainy. Exploring the ocean's depths is a dangerous and uncertain undertaking, and whatever force is attempting to foil the Archons is not waiting around to be stopped. As the tide shifts against you, can you stop the conspiracy before it unleashes an otherworldly power across the Crucible? Now, there's a picture on the website which shows this. It shows 9 cards all backed identical with the word location on them. And then it also shows one of the locations turned over, which is the SLRS Vortexelium. And it's got a bit of blurb on it, but it's fluff blurb essentially. It's also got the number 1 on it, although we don't know what exactly that represents. We don't know how you turn locations over yet. what having a number of locations in play means, but again, I do suspect that obviously we'll find more about this once we get these scenarios released to us. So yeah, again, if you want to have a look at those pictures in more depth, feel free to have a look at the link below. Then we get a little bit more information regards how this is going to work. So we get that this is Challengers of the Deep. Both of these new adventures, Rise of the Keyraken and the Abyssal Conspiracy, replace a player's opponent with an automated deck that each player must draw from when their opponent would normally take a turn. The cards in this deck contain actions that are performed against the players, creatures for the players to fight, and artifacts that the players must avoid or overcome. In this way, any KeyForge deck can be used when playing against either adventure. However, because each adventure has a unique victory and loss condition, players may find the decks that are most effective at winning in this new game mode are not the same as the ones that are effective in standard KeyForge play. So, yeah, your worst deck by SAS or that you've ever tried in competitive play may actually be your best deck against either of these scenarios. Equally, you may have a deck that is brilliant against scenario 1 but is absolutely terrible against scenario 2, which is quite good, or vice versa. So this is going to be another good way of getting us all to have a look at those decks that we haven't used for a while, reevaluate them, give them a go against this scenario, and see what we think of them and if we enjoy them, which can only be a good thing. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It leads me on to another game. So there's another game that is done by FFG that is a Star Wars game. It's called Outer Rim, and it is a multiple player game, but it is also a game that you can play alone. Now admittedly it has cards and dice, but just like this, the way it works when you're playing by yourself, your opponent has set objectives to win the game, win conditions, and their objectives and their win conditions form the basis of their decision tree, and then they have a decision tree that lets them decide, right, based on the objective and where I am in the game at the moment, I do this, or I do B, or I do C, etc. And I own this game, I've played this game by myself, and it works really quite well. The sort of decision tree and the objectives that are there make the controlled player that's controlled by the game, that your solitaire opponent, very good. It is an entertaining game. It's a close game. You will lose as many games as you win in that game. And yeah, I highly recommend it if you want to have a game that you can play by yourself. If you don't have many friends who can play games in your area or stuff like that, it is a good game to have. Also as well, when you look at people who play tested it, Brad play tested this game Outer Rim, so did Evan. So some of the people who were involved in KeyForge were involved in the playtesting of Outer Rim, even if they weren't involved in the actual design of it. So as well, with that in mind, and there's a chance that some of those people were involved in the design of this KeyForge Adventures game, I'm very hopeful. Now we've been told that it's going to be print and play for free. So the cards are going to go onto Fantasy Flight Games website, most likely as a PDF format. I just based that assumption on the prior things we've had before, and anyone will be able to go on there and get them from some time in April. At the moment it's not disclosed, but yeah, print and play for free. Now we have had some free print and play things from FFG for KeyForge before. because we've had the Impossible decks. Those were free decks added to the website in PDF format for print and play use by the community. And the reason why they were impossible decks is because they contained house combinations that you had never had the opportunity to buy in KeyForge. Some of those house combinations you still have not had the opportunity to buy. I mean, for instance, there are Mars, Saurian and Dis decks. You can have Mars and Dis, but you can't buy Mars and Saurian yet. Equally, there were Mars, Saurian and Star Alliance decks. Again, there was no way to get Mars and Star Alliance in any of the sets just yet. So, FFG have given us something previously before to use for print and play, which was very good of them. I was really looking forward to them when they first came out. For me, the only downside with them was that essentially you do have to be able to print them out, which is fine. But if you want them printed out on a playing card, as it were, rather than on pieces of paper, a lot of people don't have the ability to print onto playing cards. An awful lot of people will have a printer, but to actually print onto a good quality bit of cardboard is not necessarily going to be within the means of a lot of people. So how do I feel about KeyForge Adventures then? I am excited. I think it is a good idea to provide us with a way to play cooperatively as a team, or a way for us to play in a solo game against a decision tree opponent. I think it's a very, very good idea. It will also give us another reason to use the decks that we have in events other than Sealed, Archon, Reversal or Triad, because an awful lot of people have probably got an awful lot of decks that get very little play, whereas every time you get a deck, even if you don't want to take it to a competition or don't have the ability to take it to a competition, the fact that you can get your KeyForge Adventures pack out and play it against the deck you've just bought is great. I mean, it's such a shame we haven't had this for a longer time, considering where we are in the world at the moment in terms of organised play, communal play, being able to play at venues with other players. This would have been a great thing to have had a little while ago. So I absolutely welcome it. I really do. I mean, as well, the fact that it's free, that's really good as well. My only disappointment with it is, honestly, and I say this as someone from the county of Yorkshire, so to my listeners who aren't from the UK, because I know some of you aren't, people from my county are quite renowned for being cautious with money, is the polite term, or tight is possibly the unpolite term, and I'm no exception to that. So the fact that it's free is amazing, but I would gladly pay FFG for this. Put it in a starter set and charge me 20 quid. I'll pay you for it. That might even be cheaper than me finding a company who specialise in printing playing cards and getting them to print it onto playing cards for me. I mean, again, at least I suppose I could try and find someone local to me and try and put some money into my local economy, stuff like that, etc. is not necessarily a bad thing. But equally, I'm a KeyForge player. If I want FFG to survive as a company, I need to buy things from them, as we all do. So if they wanted to actually put this into a starter set and provide it, just like the starter sets we get, 2 decks. I mean, I don't know how many cards are going to be in each deck, but whatever it is, if they wanted to actually print that and sell that, I would gladly buy it from them. So yeah, for me, the only downside about it is I would honestly like FFG to put it into a starter set and sell it to me. and let me buy it from them, because it could actually be mildly tricky trying to find someone to get this printed for you to a nice standard where you actually want to use it. I mean, like I say, plenty of people will have the ability to print it in paper form, or print it at work or whatever, but to actually get them printed on cards nicely, that is not quite as easy to do. And again, for some of the other FFG games I've played, I have produced my own cards, pilot cards of an alternate art variety. So I have had cards made for myself before. And it's relatively easy, but there are not hundreds of companies doing it. This is not a common thing. You may have to spend a time rooting around trying to find a company that will do this for you. Equally, they have things called edges and bleed and stuff like that, where you have to format the card exactly, otherwise they can't promise you it will be printed correctly to the edge of the card. So you may have to save all the card images and then reformat them properly to get them printed by another company. So if I had one tiny complaint, FFG, please feel free to sell it to me. Print it to me and sell it to me. But other than that, that is my only complaint. I think it's a very, very good idea. I am really looking forward to it. I will be trying to get them printed in some way, shape or form in a playable fashion very, very quickly with it coming out. Equally, I may even try to make an effort at filming some of the games that I play. So yes, that is my take on what we know so far about KeyForge Adventures. Again, I'd love to hear what you guys are thinking about it. There we have the comment section, we have Twitter, we have my email, so please feel free to tell me, are you looking forward to it, are you not looking forward to it, would you prefer to have it free and try and get it printed yourself, would you prefer to buy it from Fantasy Flight Games, do you think this is actually going to make you go into your deck collection, look through them, get some decks that you haven't used in ages, or maybe even are still in the cellophane, take them out and play them? Do you think it's going to do that, or is it not for you? Look forward to hearing your thoughts. The next episode should be out roughly within a week. We'll probably be going back to Dark Tidings card spoilers for that one. We haven't looked specifically at Evil Twins yet, so that's what I'm thinking we're probably going to be taking a look at next on there. But thank you for consuming the Captain's Commpod however you've done it. I hope that you return, and until then, may the Forge be with you.